What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of M&C Podcast, episode 3. Today, sadly, I am missing Mike. He's ill right now, so we're wishing him the best and hope he has a nice recovery, and he'll be back for next Friday. But so it's just me this week. I'm gonna try to get some other people featured. So if you ever want to be featured, make sure you leave a comment down below if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you just see this on social medias, make sure you either just DM me or Mike. Both of our social media links are down below. So yeah, let's just hop right into the week. Let's talk right about the Pats and the Giants. This game was I don't know how to describe it. The Pats defense, first of all. I know everyone's a lot of people I feel like are a lot of still suspect at their defense, and not suspect as in if they're good or not, but suspect as in if they are the number one defense. And I don't, I still think, in my opinion, they're the number one, and that may just be a little biased, but people have to, put it into comparison. They're playing, not the best, offenses right now, but the things they're doing, they have 16 turnovers in 6 games. And I don't know how many touchdowns they have. I wish I had looked that up beforehand, but 16 turnovers is a lot of turnovers, and then they've had a bunch of scores, against the Giants. They have that fumble recovery for a touchdown. It's just, it's crazy. And by the way, that fumble recovery, that Van Noy, when he dove in for that was just a beautiful effort. I think that's top play in my opinion. Should have been on SportsCenter. I didn't watch SportsCenter this morning, but top play definitely. But overall, it was a good game. Definitely, Daniel Jones definitely showed his inexperience. Didn't get rid of the ball in a couple when he just got drilled, and that's what caused a lot of some of the interceptions. And I don't know. I just feel like I'm not super high on Daniel Jones. I definitely think he's their future, but it's just gonna come with practice and experience, and hopefully Eli will give him some of his experience that he's had. I'm not saying Eli's the best QB of all time, but at least he has that vet experience to hopefully help him out in the long run. But there's really not much to cover. The Pats offense, it's just in shambles right now. Their O-line has not been playing really well. Brady's gotten sacked 7 times in the last 2 games. It's not looking too good right there, and it's making me a little worried for Brady's future. You don't want anything to to him to get hit too much, and then that will screw up our future. We already got rid of Jimmy G, so which Jimmy G's not playing that well, so I guess it's kind of roses and I don't even know where I was going with that one, but I don't know where I was gonna try to compare 2 things, but I don't know where I was going with that, and I said roses. I don't know. Anyways, moving on to the next game, we got the Panthers versus the Bucks game that is actually gonna be in London, so it's an early game. I'm probably gonna wake up and watch this. This should be a good game. It's a in division game. Kyle Allen is 3-0. I think he's technically 4-0. 3-0 in starts, 4-0 in general. I'm pretty sure. Actually, no. He's 4-0 in starts. That's my fault. That's my fault. 4-0 in starts. Obviously he didn't start that other game where they lost, where he came in and filled in. But he's 4-0 in starts. And he's facing Jameis, who's just so inconsistent. I do have the Bucks winning this game. This is one of those games though. And I'm going to go over it more this week because I feel like last week I lost a couple, of the games purely because I was taking the underdog. So I want to kind of, go over with you guys my process of how, I'm taking underdogs. And if I'm taking the underdog, I'm going to tell you guys more like this is a bet maybe you shouldn't take, so it's like one of those like, oh, if you want to risk it and hopefully the risk pays off, take it. But if you don't. So in this game, I have the Bucks winning 24-18. The Bucks right now are +2 going into the game, so the Panthers are actually giving the Bucks 2. So I have the Bucks +2. I think I don't know. I don't think Kyle Allen has enough in him. He's got a lot of people are focusing on that he has 0 interceptions in the games that he's played in, but he had 3 fumbles in one of the games. So I mean, it's just one of those things. I just don't know. I think the Panthers defense, their front, their D line has been playing pretty well. So I think they'll get to him a lot and maybe cause some turnovers there. So I'm thinking that the Bucks will take that one 24-18, and I definitely would take this is a game. It's one of those toss-up ones. I could see it going either way, but I would. And since the Bucks are +2, I would take them since they're not favorites. But yeah, moving on. Let's drop down. We'll go to the Redskins, the Dolphins game. So sorry guys, I don't have Mike to lean on here, so I'm gonna have to be flipping back and forth between all my notes and stuff. So obviously as we know, Jay Gruden. See you later. He's gone. Not a surprise there. It's funny because I was looking at you can bet future bets, and one of them was what coach will be fired first, and Jay Gruden was number one on the list. And I thought that was funny. After he got fired, I'm like, oh, yep, well, whoever the hell bet on that, they win some money. It was only like plus, I think 250 or something, so you'd have to bet a good amount to win a lot. But anyway, sorry, I digress. Moving on. But after Jay Gruden, they get that kind of bad energy, I guess, out of the locker room. I don't think he was really any bad energy, but just that like the lost mentality. Maybe this other interim head coach comes in and they get headed into the right direction here. I mean, he comes in at a perfect time. They face the Dolphins this week. I think Colt McCoy is starting. I could be mistaken. I definitely don't think they're starting Dwayne Haskins. And that's, I think, another issue in the Redskins locker room right now is that they're all tossed around with whether to, trust Dwayne Haskins, not trust Dwayne Haskins. And I feel like the only way this kid's going to get better or even prove himself is if you start him. And, I mean, Colt McCoy is not their future. I mean, let's be real here. He's not. And who do they have before him? Now, why am I blanking? Who's the before? Is it Case Keenum? I don't even know. Anyways, no, Case Keenum's Denver, right? Or is it the Redskins? I don't fucking know. Ignore everything I just said because I'm fucking stupid. I don't have Mike to lean on here, so I would look it up for you guys. But regardless, whoever the starter was before, he's not playing. It's Colt McCoy starting, and I think Colt McCoy will be decent. Both trash defenses. So if you guys have anyone in fantasy in these leagues, I'd honestly probably start Terry McLaren. I think that's what I believe that's how you say his last name. I'd start him. And this is one of those weeks I'm kind of iffy. If you have Kenyon Drake, maybe you should probably start him. It's just one of those games. Your fantasy players could do really well, but these teams are just really bad. So who knows what could come out of it? The score I have right now is the Redskins winning 25-22. So I'm taking the Redskins on the win, but I'm taking the Dolphins on the spread. The Dolphins are spread plus 3.5. This is one of those games, like I said, I'm going out on a limb here, taking the spread of the Dolphins plus 3.5. I would not personally touch this game. We'll talk about it later on in the segment that I'm going to be starting called BPP, which is what's called Bold. I wrote it down, hold on. Bold Parlay Prediction. That's what I have. So we're going to go over a Bold Parlay Prediction later on. That if you want to toss a little fiver on, you can if you want to. I'll just go over my mindset in that. So, dropping down now, we're going to the Saints versus the Jaguars. I think I went over it. Let me just make sure. Yeah, Dolphins. Also take the over. My bad. I missed a step there. I'm sorry. I'm all flustered today, guys. I apologize. I'd take the over on that game. I think just because they both have shitty defenses, the over is 42. I would slam the over on that. I have the score being 25-22, but I could definitely see this game getting higher purely because the defenses are that bad. So yeah, moving on, we got the next. I said the Saints versus the Jaguars. I apologize, guys. I have no pictures on screen this week. I had a busy work week. I kind of forgot about putting that on the screen. Let me see. I don't think I have. I may have a couple of these. Let me check real quick, guys. Definitely don't have the Redskins. So. Nope, sadly I don't. I apologize, guys. So I apologize on that mark. But if you just listen, you guys should just get the whole cover going here. And oh, by the way, guys, next week we will also have a new layout coming in. It's gonna be sick. I already actually have it. I just didn't want to bring it in this week when Mike wasn't here. I don't know. I just didn't. It has like the whole logo and everything. So I wanted to wait for Mike to be on. And it's a really cool thing, and I'm very excited to be bringing that to the podcast. So, moving on, by the way, to the Saints versus the Jags. Right now, excuse me, I found this interesting. The Jags are actually -1 favorites in this. I'm not 100% sure how or why, especially how good the Saints have been playing. Let me just double check that to make sure. Yep, -1 favorites. I when I saw that, I was very flustered. I see the Saints winning this game to start. Let's just start right there. Saints +1. Take that any day of the week. The Jags D has been playing fucking horrible. Like literally so bad, and they've only been playing like okay teams. I don't see this getting like last week that what was it 28 points I think they led up to Carolina, and Carolina's been okay. So I don't see that going anywhere. So I'm taking the Saints here. I think Teddy Bridgewater I wrote this down because I thought it was funny. I said Teddy B stuffs his D in the Jags peen. I don't know why I thought that was funny. And I was trying not to think of something else besides peen, but I was just thinking of Tfue if you guys watch Fortnite. I was just thinking of him. I don't know why. Anyways, I thought that was humorous. Funny. I don't know why I said humorous. Thought that was funny. This is a train wreck already. I apologize, guys. How about the Cowboys? What's up, Jimmy John? By the way, guys, I apologize. I'm going to start interacting with chat a little bit more during these podcasts because I think they are, I think it'll be a little bit more interactive and stuff like that. So we're going to move on. That was the Saints game. I have the Saints winning 20-13. That Saints +1. Teddy Bridgewater going off. Let's see how that goes. Moving on to the Bengals versus the Ravens game. And someone in chat just asked thoughts on the Baltimore. We'll be going over that game right now. Wolf. So we're good. So this game, Baltimore is favored at 11.5. I think easily take that. Cincy is beyond bad. I think their season's over with already before it even started. And especially Baltimore has lost a couple in a row, and it's been rough to watch. I think Lamar Jackson will get his running game going a little bit here. He'll throw for 300 yards, 3 TDs, and a rushing touchdown. And I think Baltimore takes this game 40-10. I'm thinking this is a high scoring game. Hit the over. The over is 48. I think they hit that. Break it by 2. So that's what I'm thinking there. Moving on. So hopefully that answers your question, in your comments over there, Winter Wolf. So moving on to the Seahawks versus the Browns. So moving on to the Seahawks versus Browns. Sorry, guys, it's a lot of talking now, and I'm trying to do my best here. I apologize if I'm screwing up. Moving on to Seahawks versus the Browns. The Seahawks are -1 favorites in this game. I think that's laughable. The Browns have not been playing good. Oh, get a co-host? Yeah, no, I actually do, guys. So, if for those of you guys who weren't here beforehand, my co-host Mike is actually missing this week. He's sadly sick, so he, have him in your thoughts. He'll be back next Friday. Anyways, so moving on to the Seahawks game. Seahawks are -1. The Browns have just been... last week I went with the Browns over the 49ers, and I just don't think I'll ever bet on the Browns again. That game was atrocious and made me think, what is going on with Baker Mayfield? How much time does he have? How much time does he have left as a starter? I just don't see him being good anymore after the train wreck that just went down last week, and this whole season for them has just been a train wreck. If you look at their roster, they probably have one of the most stacked rosters in the league, and they just can't get it together. And I think it comes from locker room just being trash. And I don't know. I don't see them winning this game. I have the Seahawks winning 27-14. Take the Seahawks -1. I wouldn't touch over-unders in this game. But I definitely, I think, and the thing also with these two teams is I think OBJ has not gotten the ball at all, and I think that's been one of the major issues. I think Baker is going to really try to force it to OBJ this week, and I see Seattle taking full advantage of that, and I probably, maybe coming up with some turnovers. I see Baker throwing at least an interception in this game, and I think he's just going to force the ball around way too much, and I just don't trust the Browns to win it, and Seahawks -1 any day of the week. Give me that. So moving on to the next game, it's the Eagles versus the Vikings. Let me find this now. Eagles versus the Vikings. This is I think going to be one of the better games of the week. See, this is one of the other things too. Kirk Cousins in a big game, can he get it done? He's just not one of those QBs that can really get it done. I just don't see this happening. I see Carson Wentz actually playing pretty well this week, and the Philly defense stepping up when they need to. You just can't trust Kirk Cousins in a game like this where, the Eagles need to win this game. Their division's wide open, so they need to get this win. I think there's two people that are 3-2 in their division, so I think this is just asking for a win. They're also +3. The Vikings are favored at -3. I still think if you have Dalvin Cook, start him, obviously. He's been playing extremely well this year. And I think he'll continue that. I'm not saying any of these fantasy guys, just because their team's going to lose, are going to do bad, but I think Dalvin Cook will play well. Adam Thielen, I think, will still put up some solid points because he's been the main target for them. And Stephon Diggs, I think if you're still starting him in any early leagues, just sit him. At this point, I just don't see him getting that many reps. He has not been playing well this year for fantasy-wise, and and just regular wise, honestly, too. Not getting a lot of targets. So I think just sit him. For Carson Wentz, I'd start him. I could see him having like probably around 250 yards in this game, 2 TDs. And like I said, 21-7, I have as a score there. So moving on to the next game. I'm sorry if this feels rushed, guys. It's going to be a lot shorter of an episode. Oh, Freddie Kitchen's going to get hired after the season. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. So that was the Vikings versus Eagles. We are now on to the Texans-Chiefs, which this is going to be... I think there's a battle between game of the weeks this week. We have the Packers and the Lions, which we'll talk about later on, obviously. And we have this game, the Chiefs and the Texans. And the first thing that screams anything in this game is hit the over. The over in this game is really high, 55, and I think this could be one of the most high-scoring games of this season. I want to say the Texans have the highest game of the season so far, and I think it's in the 90s, which is crazy. So I think they'll definitely easily break 55 in this game. I picture this being... by the way, first of all, I just want to say I'm taking the Chiefs. Taking the Chiefs in this game. I think Patty Mahomes, after coming off a loss to Indy, stepping up in this game big. Like I said, high-scoring game. I have the game being 40-37 Chiefs. Patty Mahomes going off, and I think Deshaun Watson's keeping right up with them, but at the end of the day, they just can't take it over. Texans, however, are +5 in this game, so I'm taking the Texans +5 just purely because I think it's going to be a field goal kick type of victory. And I wrote down, too, I said first QB to throw 3 TDs, that team is going to win the game. I think that was kind of, I just thought that was a little cool point. I think it could possibly be true, so I'm going with that as my prediction. So whoever throws 3 TDs is going to win the game. That team is going to win the game, I should say. And I think, we haven't seen anything from Hopkins since, week 1. I think he put up 31 points, fantasy points week 1, and since then has not really done much. I think this is his week. He steps up. I think Will Fuller. I think you really honestly start a lot of the fantasy players in this just because it will be a high-scoring game. Will Fuller, Hopkins. I'm not sure if Tyreek's coming back this week. I don't think he is, but there's always this is the thing with the Chiefs is that it's so hard to choose who's actually because every who's you want to start because every single week they have West one of the weeks they have all these other random guys that just get 20+ points at random weeks. So the Chiefs. Tough. I don't know who you want to start there. You guys kind of pick and choose there. I don't want to give anything away. I'm not the best fantasy owner, so I don't want to give any bad tips, but I definitely think Hopkins is going to have a good week, and same with Fuller. Duke Johnson is kind of one of those weird ones, maybe a flex option. I'm not 100% sure there. They said Hill should be playing on Sunday. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Jimmy John. Appreciate that. But yeah, so if Hill is playing, then obviously you're starting Hill. Hill's going to have a game and a half. This should be an interesting game. Let's go on to the next one. By the way, so if you guys didn't understand what I said, 55 easily hit the over. That's my for sure take. The spread on this game is definitely a little iffy. So if you're betting on a lot of games, this is you should still take. I'd still take the Texans +5, but this is one of those games I'm going to say maybe hold off on because +5 is kind of a tough call in this game. Because who knows? It could be a touchdown game. Texans could even honestly win this game. It's just one of those types of games. Okay, moving on. Sorry, I'm losing my mouse here. Moving on. Next game is the Falcons versus the Cardinals. So let me find that. Perfect. I already got it right on the page. The Cardinals are what's called +2.5 in this game. So the Falcons are 2.5 point favorites. This is one of those games. This is one of those tough games that could go either way. And I'll say one thing. I'm taking the Falcons in this game and in the spread. So the Falcons are -2.5. The Falcons I think are going to win 33-28. It's just one of those games. I'm looking at the score and I'm like, will Matt Ryan show up this week? That's the big question mark. I'm not sure. Let me just check the over on this game so I can tell you guys before I go into a little breakdown of what I think is going to happen. I think the over should be good to take here. 51.5. That one I'm not touching, actually. 51.5. I have the game 31-28, so as you guys know, do quick math. That's 61, right? And I just don't know if it could be less, could be more. I just think it's one of those tough ones. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% confident in my high-scoring prediction there either. But this is gonna be an interesting game to watch as well. I still, like I said, I still think the Cardinals have a shot to win. I just take the Falcons for this, and we'll talk about the BPP later, which is the bold, what's called bold parlay prediction, and we'll talk about that later. But let me see what I wrote down here. Oh yeah, so yeah, I wrote down the Falcons D got lit up last week, so I think the Falcons D comes back, plays a little bit better, maybe a turnover or two, but they still let up a bunch of points just purely because the talent is just not there. And I think Matt Ryan throws for 300 plus yards, 3 TDs, and I think Julio gets 2 of those, and who knows gets the other one. Maybe Mohamed Sanu gets another one. He hasn't had a touchdown all year, so maybe he gets one. He's been Mr. Reliable for Matt Ryan so far this year. I have him on one of my fantasy teams. He's been averaging around 10 points a game, so he's been playing pretty well for maybe a flex spot. So maybe you start him at the flex position there. Yeah, that's what I'll cover there. So we'll move on. Before I go into the what's called Rams 49ers game, I want to go into my bold parlay prediction because I do actually partially cover the 49ers in this, even though I'm taking the Rams. So you notice when I said I'm taking the Falcons, but in this bold parlay prediction, I am taking the Cardinals at plus 110. I'm taking the Dolphins at plus 150, and I'm taking the 49ers at plus 145. So these are all teams I'm not taking on my actual bets, but I think this is just, like I said, bold parlay prediction. And I'm not going to lie to you, a lot of times bold on this fucking channel or on this podcast means stupid as hell or dumb as fuck. But we're using bold because it sounds better, and maybe it looks a little better too. And I think BPP sounds good, so I'm going with that. I think this is one of those sketchy ones. I'm like I said, I mentioned this at the beginning, I think, of the stream, or I also mentioned it in my Instagram story. Maybe just toss $5 on it. I don't trust this at all. I think this is just one of those things you do for fun. Maybe toss $5 on it. Take the Cardinals, Dolphins, 49ers. Do it for fun, and and like I said, you don't have to take mine. But this is one of those things that you can kind of just toy around with, see which ones possibly make sense. And like I said, in all these games, I could see the Dolphins beating the Redskins. I could see the Cardinals beating the Falcons. I could see the 49ers beating the Rams. It's all just question marks. Especially, so now let's hop into the 49ers Rams game. The 49ers defense has been playing so well that you gotta respect them. They've been playing really well. I definitely think they're top 5 defense, if not higher. They've been playing extremely well. So that's why this is one of those games. It just depends on how Goff plays. It's just one of those games, man. Goff, then he threw 500 yards one of the games, but he threw 2 interceptions. I meant. So it's one of those games. I think that was the Rams versus Bucks game. I could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was the Rams versus the Bucks, and they ended up beating the Bucks. And it was a really high scoring game. But anyways, I digress. I think short rest week for the 49ers D. I'm thinking maybe that has a little bit of an impact on them since they played Monday. And it's so hard for me to take the 49ers because it's crazy to think that they're 4-0 from, where they've been in years past. But their D is legit. I just don't see Jimmy G yet again stepping up. He really hasn't shown me that oomph, that really breakout. Even last week when they played Cleveland, I know they put a beat down on, but it was mainly because their defense played extremely well. A lot of turnovers from Baker Mayfield. And I think Goff, is a definitely more elite quarterback than Baker Mayfield is. So I think he'll get the job done. I think he'll be smart with it. And like I said, maybe there could be, this is where one of those games, it could go either way. I would not take the spread on this game. But I'm just giving my advice on what I would take for the spread, which is the Rams -4. They win 20-15. A little low scoring shootout there. And then moving on, we got the Tennessee Broncos. They don't have their fullback this week. Okay, thank you for that, Jimmy John. Appreciate that. So the 49ers don't have their fullback this week either, which I don't know how to pronounce that. I don't even know if I want to try. Jessic. You guys tell me down below. Did I say that correctly? Could be wrong, could be right. I'm not 100% sure. Anyways, moving on to the Tennessee Titans versus the Denver Broncos game. Broncos are -2.5 favorites in this. It's another one of those games I don't see the Broncos stepping up to the plate. And I see the Titans winning this one. I think Marcus Mariota steps up here. And I think they win this game. My bold prediction for this game is Marcus Mariota throwing for 250 yards, 2 TDs, which I don't think is that bold. I think that could definitely happen, especially, with how the Broncos have played. This is one of those games I don't really even want to talk about that much. I don't find any interest in it. Not a lot going on. Fantasy wise, kind of one of those you start if you want to risk it, you can start them. It's just one of those games. I have the Titans winning 22-18. Titans plus 2.5. Obviously, I take that. It's just one of those games. I personally think that this is not the worst spread of the week, so I think the Titans 2.5 would be a pretty solid lock. But that's up to you guys to decide. Like I said, at the end of the day, you can take my advice all you want, but all up to you. But yeah, moving on from that game, we got another kind of crappy game in the Cowboys versus the Jets. The spread on this is honestly, it almost was laughable. I kind of felt bad for Dak. The spread right now is the Cowboys are giving the Jets 7. I was like, is this a joke? I mean, I get Sam Darnold's coming back. Maybe that will help the Jets, but the Jets are the Jets. That nothing's gonna happen in this game. They'll drop to 0-5. And I think the Cowboys will destroy him 30-10. I see, maybe Sam Darnold comes back, they get a freaking, opening drive touchdown, and that's about all that will happen with the Jets that game. I see for Dak, laughing at this. First of all, laughing at the spread, and he'd be like, "Yo, you kidding me? After I get 2 tough losses, I'm coming out, lighting it up, 300+ yards out of Dak. I see 100 yards out of Zeke. Dak throws 2 touchdowns. Zeke gets either a rushing touchdown or a touchdown. That's my bold or a throwing touchdown." Or a throwing touchdown, a fucking reception touchdown. Jeez, I apologize, guys. Like I said, it's tough doing this alone. And I'm all flustered because I didn't put the pictures up, and that's kind of pissing me off. I apologize on that. But anyways, I digress. Moving on to the Steelers versus the Chargers. This could be a really good matchup. The issue with this matchup is that the Steelers are now going to be on their 3rd string QB. Mason Rudolph definitely is not coming back this week. I'm very happy that Mason Rudolph is okay, though. That was a very serious injury, and then the whole thing happened with, if you guys didn't watch, so Mason Rudolph literally got drilled, passed out on the spot, and then they were bringing out the cart to cart him off, and the cart breaks down as they're trying to get him up. But fortunately, he was able to get up on his own strength and walk off the field. I'm not 100% sure if that was the right thing on the NFL's part for just doing that wise. I don't know, with the concussion, you always worry about injuries and stuff like that, and especially with the head. But it happened, whatever. And but I think that Philip Rivers will come in and beat pretty wholesomely beat the Steelers here. This could be a good game. It honestly just comes down to how well the Chargers defense plays, as well as how well Philip Rivers plays. No turnovers, anything like that. I think Philip Rivers. It's going to be Chargers 28. To the Steelers 14. Chargers -7. My bad. And I take that all day long. And anyways, getting on to the last game of the week. Like I said, guys, this is gonna be a quick week. I apologize that I may not have as much insight this week as I did last week. It's tough when Mike's not here, so we typically kind of go back and forth. And I did want to mention, so me and Mike last week, I don't know if you guys noticed. If you did listen to the podcast last week, I do appreciate it. I just wanted to say, me and Mike, so we went head-to-head on a couple different games last week. I believe we went head-to-head on 2, and we were 1-1 right now against each other, against choosing, against the other team. I went with the Packers, and he went with Kansas. Oh, no, it wasn't Kansas City. No, Kansas City got beat by Indy. It was Packers versus the Cowboys, right? Packers versus the Cowboys. I went with the Packers, and and so we're 1-1 right now. And I think he went with, it was the Houston game. I can't remember who they played. But so we're 1-1 right now on choosing against each other. So that's pretty fun. I'll try to get Mike next week. We'll keep that up. We'll try to see if we can get a couple games that we disagree on there. So moving on to the Lions versus the Packers in Lambeau. Packers now -4, or Packers are -4, so they're given 4 points. This is one of those games. Oh man, it's so tough. I don't know if I touch this game for the spread. I'm going with the Packers. However, the spread I just don't think I'm touching. I have the Packers winning 21-17. I think Aaron Rodgers has continues his pretty solid season. He had I think he had an okay week last week. Aaron Jones mainly filled the load there, but I think Aaron Rodgers will do a little bit more here. Probably have a touchdown or two with maybe 250+ yards. That's what I'm thinking of this game. Let me just look at the over/under because I'm kind of curious. The over/under is 46. It's just one of those games, man. I could definitely picture this game going over, but I just don't know if I trust either. I think that the Lions have a pretty solid. Both teams honestly have a pretty solid defense. The Lions have proven that they have a pretty good team all around. I just don't know if 46 may. Like I said, 46. This could be a 60-point game. It could be a 24-point game. It depends how the defenses play. I don't think I touched the over/under on that game. And I think that's it. I kind of flew, guys. I'm sorry. It was only half an hour. I really flew. But if you guys did really enjoy what you're watching, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you leave a like, comment, and sub if you're new. But yeah, we do this every single Friday. I typically have Mike here with me, so I apologize if this is a little stumbled. And, I feel like I didn't give as much info this week, and I apologize if that was the case. I tried to give it my best, my best picks and stuff like that. So hopefully I win you guys some money. So far, I didn't put the record up again, but let me just go check. I did write it down so I can tell you. Next week's a whole new week, guys. We'll have a whole layout and stuff like that. My record right now is 18-11-1 when coming to the spread picks, and I have a tie. My first tie last week. I can't remember who I chose. I think it was. Let me check real quick. I'm gonna try to check for you guys. All I know it was a -3 spread, and the what's it called? I can't find it. Anyways, it was a -3 spread. I took the -3. Ended up being 3 points exactly, so no one wins. So it's a tie. So anyways, that's my one tie on the year. I'm doing pretty well this year, I'd say. So if you guys want to trust me, and if you're just here for the content and the humor, and hopefully I make you laugh once in a while. Thank you for stopping by, and like I said, leave a like, comment, and sub if you're new. Peace out, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be streaming later on.